You want to talk about this AI stuff?
Yes. So,
Yeah.
shout out to our Patreon. Actually, my phone was blowing up, so it wasn't just Patreon. I had a couple of artist friends send me the Atlantic.
Yeah.
They created something called an AI watchdog, and I think Doc, you'll probably know more about this than I do, because I'm very interested to hear your take and talk with you about this. Essentially they created a search engine that will tell you if AI has basically used your music to train itself, right?
Yeah, basically like has one of these models, and there's a couple of them, but have any of them for music been trained on the song, on this particular song from this particular artist?
Mm-hmm. And so I got
You know, they got some good ones though, man.
They pulled AI pulled from 3 albums. It pulled from Marcus Graham, Even If I Lose, and Armond and Doc. The first one.
Man, they got Snooze Button.
Oh, they did pull from.
They
Snooze
got
Button
36.
5. They did pull from. Oh,
they got
shoot,
some
I'm tripping.
Kairos in here.
Oh, I'm tripping. Okay, they got me.
Oh, they got you. Even If I Lose. They got you. They got me.
Yeah, they got. Yeah. I'm curious. Like, they haven't did anything new, so they didn't get like Neverland. I mean, I haven't released much, but
you're like, I'm kind of offended. Get my new stuff.
I'm not. You know, it's crazy because it's like I don't know how to feel. I feel like it's very complicated and very layered.
Yeah, and it's like we don't exactly know what these have been used for necessarily, right?
Correct. Like in what way were they used?
In what way were they used? And it's funny because I've experimented with using Suno for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes almost just to like, can I get a weird creative idea or something like that off of it? There's lots of art. There's other artists that were just straight up doing like, oh, I want to make an AI sample, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's weird because like on the one hand, I use AI all the time, right? Like, in like the publishing industry, people have been upset about in the book industry, people have been upset about this kind of stuff for a long time. Cause like, what do you think ChatGPT and Claude and all them are trained on, right?
Of course.
Like there was this huge effort. I think it might have been Anthropic with Claude. It was one of them where like they had this whole operation where they were like getting books from like library discards from like secondhand. They had this whole operation where they're basically just like getting the book in, destroy the binding, like massive scanners to like scan the text, digitize it, extract it. Like there's this huge operation to do this. And it was kind of a, beg for forgiveness instead of asking for permission. Was that legal? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
But like the gamble, and I think at least on the tech side, music side, we'll see, on the text side, the gamble was, I think it was the correct gamble, either this is going to make us so big and so wealthy that the rules won't apply, which is what happened, or we're going to flame out. What are they going to do? Sue us? We don't have any money. So
yeah, see, like, I don't like that mindset.
Well, in the same way where it's like, all right, like Napster, cool. Well, went out of business. All right, what are you going to do now? Try again, try something different, right? So on the one hand, like I use AI all the time, all kinds of stuff. But man, it hits real different when I look at some of the songs on this list and I was like, man, I remember when I made that. Like all these records I was looking at, I was like, man, this is Kairos. Like, I remember when I made that beat, like my wife's grandma had just died, and the house was real sad. And I had been trying to figure this record out. And I was just like, my wife needed some space. So I was like, cool. And when you're a producer and you're trying to process something, what do? You're like, let me go find some samples.
Yep.
let me go work with something.
Yep.
And I made that beat that night. And like, I hear it now and I still feel like that night, And it's like, man, So AI was trained on that, or some AI somewhere was trained on some part of that. And it's like, it's interesting to me, like with text, I understand what it is trained on because it is literally being trained on text, where it's like the sentence, it's like being trained on that. But like music is it, especially what we do, where it's like I'm sampling and there's like sampled voices, but then you're rapping. There's like, it's a very interesting thing to train on, you know?
Yeah. Like
But
what?
but it's just it's funny how, like, I imagine this is how authors must have felt when they saw that their books,
of course,
were being trained. You know, what was being trained on. Early versions of like GPT and these tools, they've gotten better. They don't do this anymore. Early versions, like you would ask to do something, it would just spit out basically almost like verbatim, like a thing from like a book. It was like really done with it. And it's like, wait a minute, I wrote this. You know.
Yeah.
Now it's all like, where we've evolved past that. It's not there anymore. But yeah, man, it just feels different. You know, I don't really have a good answer for it, except to say, you know, there's been a lot of people who I think look at something like this and they want to go, yep, this is why we got to put AI back in the box. This is why it's bad. It's why we shouldn't do it. All these things. And it's just like, you're not putting this back in the box.
It's over.
I mean, it's just like, you're going to put electricity back in the box? You're going to put the internet back in the box? I mean, seriously, like, you know, like, it's just not, you're not going to put this back in the box. So what do we do now?
Yeah. I think for me, the first thing is the lack of consent. And compensation, like, brings up its own set of questions. To first say, when I upload my music to these platforms, like, where are they getting it from? Are they getting it from, you know, do they have relationships with Spotify, Apple, and Tidal Music where they're getting it that way?
They scraped, and for what the Atlantic monitored, nah, man, they scraped that from YouTube, buddy.
YouTube.
They just scraped it the same way that I sample from YouTube.
They just scraped it from YouTube.
Scraped it. Okay. There's that's the thing. It's not like there's no. So it's funny, right? Because when Apple first started getting into AI, they took a real like ethical approach. They like worked with like, oh, we're gonna pay this group to like license their stuff, and we're gonna train on that. And the rest of the tech industry was like, you losers. You're paying for a smaller amount. We're going to ignore the rules, go as fast as humanly possible, and bet that by the time the law comes for us, it will be too late.
Too late. And the most we'll do is settle out of court, and the percentage that we pay will be pennies compared to what we make.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. So there's the anger, the frustration that comes with that, the lack of consent, the lack of compensation. I've been saying this for forever, that there needs to be some regulation with AI. There's none, and there's no incentive. I haven't even heard the administration even talk about.
You haven't heard what's going on?
No. What's up?
Oh man, this has been all the drama in the tech world for the past 3 weeks now, 2.5 weeks.
Okay, so this is somewhat new. Okay, fill me in, catch me up.
Big Bang, Donald Trump. He wants the AI companies to come in and kiss the ring.
Of course, I'm surprised it took this long.
So,
of course, that's his form of regulation. Of course, it is.
Of course, he to quote The Godfather, he wants to wet his beak. You know, that's if you just watch The Godfather, you will understand everything you need to know about how Trump thinks he wants to operate. He just wants to wet his beak. He just wants you to pay respects. He just wants to be loved.
What an idiot! He wants money.
Or he wants something.
Yeah.
So Anthropic, the company behind Claude, they have a their next class. Like sort of their next batch of models is what they call the Mythos class. This is the class where they're just like, they actually went to everybody like, listen, this stuff is so dangerous that we're parceling out like access. It's so good for what it can do with like software specifically, where it's like, this can like find vulnerabilities and like this stuff, and like it can do all this stuff. So like they released The first batch of that called it's Fable 5 was the first model they released from that.
I've heard of that.
Fable
Okay.
5, right?
Yep.
And they were like, yeah, we had to put it on guardrails. We couldn't even give you the full Fable 5 experience. Like, if you try to ask it to do certain things, we're just not going to let you do it because it's too powerful. And so they basically were begging to be regulated, right? They're like, it's too powerful. You're just asking for trouble. Trump admin was like, because they kind of beef with Anthropic anyway.
I've heard about that. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so they were just like, nah, you got to take that down. You got to take it off. We'll tell you when you can go back on. Okay. Because they were concerned that, like, well, we don't want you to let non-Americans have access to it. So, like, OpenAI is releasing their next batch of models, which are, so let's just say they're roughly as powerful, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
And they have been, like, the government is approving who gets access to this on a case-by-case basis, right?
Case by case.
It's like big companies, so it's like the government has to approve. Now, who, of course, you think the government's going to approve? Like, we're ending up, here's the thing that's crazy. It's like, this sounds like the rich get richer, right? But what's actually going to happen, this is, like, so dumb because, like, all that's going to do is make companies look to models that come from the rest of the world, right? And so they're just going to go with, like, an open source model from China or something that is, like, that will catch up eventually, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Because they don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of working with this or working with that.
Yep.
So, like, it's regulating AI in that way where it's like, not like what is AI able to do, but like, am I going to allow you to release this new powerful thing? No, you better get my permission.
Right.
That kind of regulation is Cat's way out of the bag for that. Way out of the bag.
That's not even it.
Because what are you going to do? Like, you're going to try to say, like, oh, well, nobody in America, because you can see where this is going, where it's like, oh, if people in America start to use these models from other countries, right? Because they can't get access to the latest and greatest in America, what's going to happen? Well, I could totally see the Trump administration being like, nah, if you're American, we're not going to allow you to do that. What are they going to, people going to start doing VPNs. It's going to be this weird, like,
of course.
Loop. But, like, all that would do is that would mean that American companies that are playing by the rules are going to fall behind, especially if you're in the tech world, where, like, if your business involves software, you need to be pretty aggressively using AI because everybody else is. That's just the game. And so what are you going to fall behind? Basically, like, so this is like that kind of regulation. And this is the other thing with, like, AI regulation is it's like, what are you regulating?
Like,
okay, because there are companies in the US, right, that are AI companies, right? Anthropic, OpenAI, the two biggest ones. But, like, Google, they got an AI product, right? They got Gemini, which they're stuffing into everything.
Correct.
Meta/Facebook, they've got AI models, right? So that they're doing all that.
Yep.
But, like, there are open source models that are out there.
Yep.
Correct. What are you gonna? Now, those aren't as powerful as, like, what Anthropic has, but, like, what Claude can do. But, like, it will theoretically it will continue to get better. So it's like, how do you regulate that? Who's responsible for that? Again, I think people have this, like, and I understand why it's so seductive just to be like, we just need to put it all back in. Like, let's just get it. But it's just like, there's no, this is like, it's too late to a certain degree, but it's also just like, it's too, like, amorphous, you know, where it's like, if you heavily regulated American companies and you told Anthropic, OpenAI, et cetera, you all have to pay a percentage back into some fund, and then we're going to distribute that out. That would work if only companies were allowed to create this, but they're not, right? And certainly not only American companies. Well, you think we're going to get China to agree to do that to a Chinese company?
Of course not.
That's a huge advantage for them.
Of course.
So they're, I know. We like the time to heavily regulate, like, how are you creating these models? We are, the horse is out of the barn. So now the question is, what do we do about it?
What do we do about it? Yep.
What do we do about it?
Yep. That's the question that I had as an artist. It's like, you can't control it because it's everywhere. it's implemented into your customer service, your operating systems. You know, when you go to Wendy's, like fast food restaurants are implementing it into, their drive-throughs.
Well, and it's tough too because like in an attempt to appear hip or current or trendy, companies are calling things AI that aren't really AI. It's just like I'm using a computer to automate something, but it sounds like AI.
Sure.
Like everybody's nostalgic for Y2K era right now, right? Let me tell y'all, man, late 90s, companies were adding .com to their company names.
Of course.
Who had no business calling themselves an internet company, but that was the trendy. That was like, oh, people will take it. It's just the same. We're playing the same game. It's not a, well, what is it? It's history doesn't rhyme, but it echoes. I think or I forget what it is. It's something like that, where it's like history doesn't repeat, it rhymes.
Yeah.
History is rhyming with AI and like that era. So like
I've been saying that forever. I'm like, yo, this just feels like the .com era.
There's a whole lot of that going on. Like I think like the front of my washing machine says like something AI. It's like, that's not AI. You have a sensor that is like detecting how dirty my clothes are, which is great. That's modern technology. That's not AI.
Yeah.
Here's what I think would be interesting. And I'm going to say this as somebody who works for a tech startup and somebody who, God help me. This might be a bad idea. It's not going to matter. This is not going to go anywhere. You could talk me into a world where what you're actually trying to tax, in a sense, is profits from AI assisted output. Okay. So it's like much in the same way that as an artist, you're supposed to clear a sample, right? That's the way that works. So you could imagine a world where it's like, if you are using AI to help create music, to help generate like brand new music, that trained on this data set that the Atlantic is talking about, cool. Well, you got to clear that or pay into basically this fund that could get distributed out. Like you could talk me into something like that. Could be interesting.
I can see that.
You would end up much like how it works with sampling now, where it's like people are going to try to skate by and there's going to have to be some enforcement. So there's going to have to be some incentive, like who's going to go do that. So there's some implementation details, but like you could talk me into that. You could talk me into that for text, right? AI generated text. That could be interesting. AI generated code. That's tricky. It's pretty tricky. It's very tricky. That would basically like kind of bankrupt a lot of tech companies to a certain degree. Yeah. And that cat is so far out of the bag. Way out of the bag. So much so that like some of the companies whose code was trained on now use AI to help write their code. It's just like a circular, you know. So like coding, I don't know how to deal with that problem exactly. But text, images, you could do the same thing potentially, right? Like this image data set. Like I feel like, let's just say art, for lack of a better word, like creative output, like in that way, right? Where it's like music, visuals, books. I could see something like that. That would be interesting. You would need like, that would have to be like on like a international scale for it to work properly, right? But like you could talk me into that kind of a thing where it's like, listen, this is done. We know it's happened. So now we're just kind of like, we're going to try to reimburse in some way. Unfortunately, you think you and I get just a small itsy bitsy amount from streaming. Let me tell you what the payouts on this are going to be.
I say those payouts are going to be abysmal.
Abysmal.
Yeah. The record industry, the tech industry alone is going to take a good chunk of that. And then it's going to be like that scene at the beginning of the Jetsons when he hands her the money to go shopping and she takes his wallet instead. It'll be like that.
The only reason why I think that's even possible is because like we haven't quite gotten to the world. AI generated visuals, that's a whole separate, that's gone further. AI generated text, lots of people use it. AI generated music still hasn't quite like, people are using it in bits and pieces for sure.
Bits and pieces, yeah.
But it's not like we're at the point, like now, man, I will see like how many menus from restaurants, from coffee shops do I have to see where it is so obviously AI generated? And I'm just like, guys, you you can literally just do this inside of a normal app. Like you don't have to.
I feel like the AI generated music is more of a thing specifically with the AI generated artists. I'm seeing that a lot, but I'm seeing it. It's not a thing where it's like gotten a Billboard. I don't know if you just, I don't know if you just saw what Tidal released today.
No.
They basically released like some regulations for how they're going to handle AI music on their platform.
Okay.
So essentially, like you can't make money off of it. There's going to be like a badge, scarlet letter, essentially, for AI in generated music to kind of separate it, this, that, and the third, yada, yada, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure you're pulling that up right now.
Yeah, as you can see by the white light on my face from this incredibly bright page, not be monetizable. Tidal's priority is ensuring royalties go to original works directly produced, written, and performed by people. Now, that is a very slippery slope.
How so?
Why don't we just treat this the way that we treat the fact? Like, to me, this is, I don't know. I guess you could take it all the way, but like, I guess that makes a lot of sense for like, if this is one of those like, literally, this artist does not exist, like fully, 100%.
That's what but I think that's what they're talking about. Like there are songs from artists that are.
Yeah,
the artists
nothing
themselves
about it okay.
That I think I'm pretty sure that's what they're speaking to, as opposed to if you were to use a sample that generated from AI. That I don't think that falls into this category.
What if you guest appear as a rapper on an AI generated R&B song? How does that work?
Here's a real life example. Have you heard what's that guy's name? I gotta look it up. There's a song that's gone viral on social media, and people are saying that it is okay. Here we go. So I'll have you look it up so you can play it, Doc.
Yeah.
So the name of the artist, his name is Phoenix Flexin, and the name of the song is Rubbers with a Z. I know. So he kind of looks like this is a real person, and he kind of looks like French Montana a little bit, but like the song, people are saying this is AI, and he's saying no, it's not. He's performing it as if it's a real song, though nobody's seen him performing live on some Milli Vanilli stuff. They've only seen like performance videos on social media. Play the song real quick. I want you to hear it.
All right, hold up. Phoenix Flexin. Oh my goodness, what is happening here?
The name alone reeks of AI. Phoenix Flexin is 100% an AI.
There is a thing that is happening where people just say if it's something they don't like, they just call it AI.
For sure. It sounds like AI to me, though. I can't hear it.
You can hear it?
I cannot hear it.
Oh, you can't hear that at all?
No.
What is this song? Yeah, I'm not. That's first of all, it's terrible.
Damn, man, I hope that recorded.
Is that for real? Like, what is happening?
It's a real song.
That's a real song, huh? Wow, yep. That is okay.
But but to that point, and I think I feel like this is a place you were going. This is a real person,
right,
who's saying this is real music that he is creating, whereas people are pushing back and not in the this is terrible, so this is AI. To me, that sounds like AI.
Yeah, I mean, I almost don't even really care. Like, it's just, you can just say it's bad. It's fine. Like, it's terrible.
But but we could say good, bad, all we want to, but once a song permeates and it cuts through, then we have to have a conversation.
Well, only because like what happens is you get this cottage industry of people who are like, we got to talk about the weird thing, and then it perpetuates itself. You know, that is the thing about like, you know, for so long everybody was like, how do you get something that goes viral? You know, that was like an obsession for a long time. And it's like what we now have is it always felt mysterious, where it's like, oh, I don't know, like there's now this swirling ecosystem. Because everybody wants to be a reactor. Everybody wants to be a content creator. There's this swirling ecosystem. Yes, hopefully great art people will want to react to. But also, the incentives now are just create like the worst sounding thing you can possibly imagine.
So that people will react to it. And
laugh all the way to the bank. Like
because that song and that discussion of whether that's AI made it to ABC News. So this is not just social media banter. Like it's permeating through and it's getting to actual like legit news outlets. So that's what I'm saying. Like we're gonna have to have a series of conversations, because how do we know that this new artist, we haven't heard any song? This is different than like, you know, Kanye West or an established artist using AI, right?
Sure.
Even though, you know, Kanye used AI on Bully, but like we have no reference point for this particular artist. This is a completely new person. We have no idea where this person came from. We have nothing. And here he comes and he's like, this is my song. And because there's no regulation, we just kind of have to take him at his word. We're like, well, this sounds like AI. And he says, no, this is me. And whatever laws or whatever regulations the title puts up, it don't apply to him because he's a real person.
He's a real person. He's from Shoreline Mafia.
There you go. Okay, so there is some history that we can pull from. For this artist. Okay.
But like, I don't know.
And also, who's to say that we can't, Doc, you and I could create a whole song using Suno, and then all I would have to do is just replicate, you know what I'm saying? Like the idea.
Yeah.
And we say, yeah, this wasn't AI, this was us.
Right.
And we could skate around it.
Sure.
It's like generating a paper. It's like you're in college, you generate a paper, and instead of copying and pasting it, you just write it. That's your paper.
You got to learn how to clear out all the formatting.
Of course.
Stick in those extra like weird like spaces and page breaks to make that just a little bit bigger. Got to make it, all the tricks. Kids, those are lost, man. Those are lost skills.
For sure.
I don't know. I think AI is a technology, and like any other, and there will be good uses, there will be bad uses. We have no idea what the good uses will be. We have some idea what some of the bad uses will be. I'll say this, like, it would be really fascinating is if like somehow what got hip hop, it would be really ironic if what kind of got hip hop out of its funk, so to speak, was some sort of new like AI spawned subgenre. It would be hilarious. Where it's like people have figured out how to use some tool to like, oh, actually I can get this kind of sound that I just never even thought to combine before. And like, that would be kind of, honestly, it would be fitting because so many key things in hip hop are really like shaped by technology, by like, what tool did I have access to? Like we were talking about the Dream earlier, right? He's prepping this new project.
Yes,
man. You want to know part of why we love those first those first 3 Dream albums, 2.5 Dream albums, is because it was him and the Phantom. Like he was sitting there he had his sounds. He was dialed in. Obviously there's lots of other stuff, but like he was driven by like making music with this one box, right? Like every time Akai introduced a new generation of MPC and they added like more memory, hip hop literally changed because people could sample differently. You know, like hip hop has adapted to these things. When we got out of I've got to only release an album, and when streaming happened, hip hop was like, well, great, we're going to do huge albums. We're going to do small EPs. We're going to do
Mhm.
90-second songs. We're going to do 7-minute songs. Like all the limits were removed with some negative consequences, but like hip hop adapted. And like, I suspect in some way hip hop will adapt again. It will adopt again. There will be something that comes out of this that is unique. We have no idea what it is, but like, to me, that's kind of the history of hip hop.
Mm. We adapt and we thrive in
Hopefully, man.
in daunting circumstances. And it's funny because it's the last thing I'll say. We can move on. It's almost like the hip hop economy is still very much reliant on older artists.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So whatever they pull from, you know, is this going to be a kid? I saw a tweet. Somebody posted the Jigga What video and they said, why haven't we built on this sound? And in my brain, my first thought was, hey, buddy, you missed a lot. You missed a build on that sound. Oh, my God. We built on Timbaland, built on that sound until 2008. But
yeah,
on top of R&B and Dark Child and all that stuff, whatever. But, you know, my point is somebody going to take something that we're familiar with, add a little bit of youth to it,
sure,
and present it in this newfound way, similar to the initial technology that hip hop used was we're going to find break beats. We're going to find the drum loop in disco records. And that's what we're just going to bring that back over and over and over. And that's the tech, you know? I think you make a great point. It's just, what is that thing going to be?
And then, in the 90s, right, R&B was like, what if we applied some chords to some hip-hop beats and had some people sing over them? Mm-hmm. Congratulations, you just invented 90s R&B, right? Like, these are the...
and that spawns some Blend Tapes and Ron G and
right,
Puff
right, which comes out of all that, exactly. So it's that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know this, what's new is old.
Yeah, I mean, but it is also like... yeah, what's new is old, that's for sure. What gets harder is like, this is the thing that gets harder is like, we keep going like, you know, there was lower hanging fruit in the early years of rap, where it was like, oh, we can, when people figured out how to sample in certain ways, it unlocked a whole new list of possibilities.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
What is the next unlock for hip hop? You know what I mean? Like,
that's a great question.
Like, the technologies that really have fueled the last like 15 years of hip hop, like from a music making perspective, I guess I would say it's not that it fueled it, it's just that it shaped it in a certain way. Is like, in a weird way, like the way that Fruity Loops actually like works
for sure
if you've ever heard hi-hats that are not just stuttering, but that are like going up and down in pitch, it's because of literally the way that Fruity Loops is designed. It makes it easy to do that. And so people started figuring out how to do that. And now they did stuff within that, but like tech and the way it's designed has this influence in hip hop. That and like, just, I don't know, I guess I would say like autotune, right? Obviously had a huge impact. And like the sophistication of autotune, right?
Where that's the talk box. Starts as the talk box.
First the talk box, then you make the leap to kind of like auto-tune where you still hear it. Then now you only hear the auto-tune if you want to hear it. It's good enough that you can just make people sound like better singers.
Yep. It's in the technology where now people will sing live and you can
with
just
auto-tune. Right. And so I don't know, like, does it mean that, like, you know, we've seen like AI stem removal, which is like, okay, some interesting stuff there. I feel like we haven't fully cracked that perfectly yet. If you told me that like within 2 years, AI stem removal gets so good that, let's just imagine, I don't even know if this is possible. Let's hypothetically, if you told me 2 years from now, AI stem removal has gotten so good that it is like super clean and you can truly do that, you could tell me that actually opens up, there's this whole class of records that people could never really sample things that they wanted to sample. Now we've got access to whatever, all these new things that you can sample in different ways. That might open up a whole new lane of like beats that you can make or types of music you can make that we just never really thought that you could in that way. Like, okay, like maybe that would be it. I don't know what it is yet, but yeah.
I agree.
All right.
Still, yeah. Okay.